questions. Let's go to Gary. Gary Woolman, would you like to introduce yourself? Gary is based in Australia, right? And
Yeah.
he works with body work and voice and breath work to bring out our inner confidence. And he works with speakers and performers. Tell us a little more about what you do, Gary, and give us your take on this topic.
Thank you. It's fascinating hearing your take, both of you together, and it's given me a chance to sit back and reflect. And as you have, I've been seeing prophecies of what I'm about to speak about, pictures and scenes that have preceded these words that are now coming through. I have carried, as we all do, a core wound in this life that summates to the expression, I'm not enough. And it came out of my mom being desperately wanting to have a child when she was in the Second World War, 1945. Her sister Gladys suddenly heard she had leukemia and died. In the Jewish tradition, the firstborn, Gary, is named after the last died. And my mom's reproductive system was so screwed up for 5 years that until 1951, when I came out, she went to all the best doctors, desperate to get a child, that would be an amazing being. I am. She was pumped up with all, the right hormones and chemical, and it took 5 years for her to get pregnant. So I came out of an act of desperation, of being wanted so much. And she poured into me from my dad, who was an amazing being, amazing man. She gave up her advertising career to be with this amazing being. And some friends of hers at one point said, "Well, what are you going to choose? You're going to choose a great advertising career, or you're not going to meet someone like this ever again." So she did. And so she gave up her identity and she poured into me her frustrations about not being a successful advertising executive. So I became a very accomplished athlete, champion springboard diver, gymnast, track star. I became my graduating from school, my private high school I went to in New York City, Horace Mann. I got into uh, I received the award, the headmaster award for the one student that had the best combination of athletics and academics, but I still felt not good enough. And this propelled me when my parents wanted me to go down some straight and narrow channels to basically rebel and move into my own realm. My mom and dad, particularly my mom, didn't tell me that my great-great-grandfather on my mom's side played clarinet for the Tsar and his brother was an artist. They wanted me to do something straight and narrow or accomplished. I was already thinking I'd be a child psychiatrist, something that would be fitting into the box or the jigsaw puzzle that they brought me up with. But I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. So I kept rebelling and moving west. I went to California and then I came out as a court jester. I kept getting more and more wild to get noticed, to find my own uniqueness and authenticity. Little did I know that my background was all artists, because my father was a CPA, really successful, accomplished, but I would not fit in. It's just like oil and water. I just kept going as far away as I could to be heard. And I got outrageous and outlandish in my expression. The short version of my telling you all this is that now I'm 72, and after helping a huge amount of people, that was a way of demonstrating my self-worth to myself. I am enough, which is my mom did. I am enough by helping others. Now I've reached a point in my life with the presentation coaching and all this work I've done to help so many people out there for so long. Now I'm on the top of a mountain. I'm in a permaculture community and I am loving my all oneness, my all aloneness in a way that I don't have any interest in getting entangled with others to somehow measure my self-worth by how I connect with others or help others. I love helping others. Yet now my focus is ye, I, oh, Ooh, I do that throughout the day. Self-love, self-care, self-practices. And when I do this, I'm much more able to be there for others. Yet I'm whole and complete in a way that I never allowed myself to be before, trying so hard to reach out. Now I'm reaching in and I feel far more present and pleasant in my own skin.
That's
One other
really cool.
version, one other thing that I wanted to say that is about working with others that I want to reflect on in my coaching and my therapy. About 2, 3, 4 years ago, there was a man who I met. He lives in Los Angeles, and he heard about the body therapy that I was doing with one of his friends in Melbourne, Australia. She great breakthroughs in the work that I was doing with her, and her success was greater, and her astrology practice, all that she was doing, it was very moving to him. And he somehow contacted me, said, I want to learn your method of body therapy. Well, I thought that was interesting. And then I found out he has cerebral palsy. And he had hired a body therapist to travel from Las Vegas to his home. And I was showing them each stroke, the affirmations, I'm whole and complete, different things that would address this I'm not enough um, self-talk that he was living with. In any case, what one moment of which I wanted to share before I complete my share here that I knew I wanted to share my prophecy moments there was a moment in this first session with him when he said, enough of teaching me body work. I just want you to work with me directly. And then we started doing these Zoom sessions. And I asked him at one moment, because he's all gimped up, he's all like this. And he's saying, I had a view of myself all my life of being this disformed, disfigured being that's I'm not whole. I'm not whole and complete. I'm not enough. There's something wrong with me. I can't function. And I said, what would happen if you were to have a conversation with your cerebral palsy and give it a new name? And he said, okay, cerebral palsy, I'm going to call you creative perception. And it shifted his whole physiology. And from that moment, he's now calling himself a rainbow healer, and he's honoring his uniqueness, his eccentricity, and his ways of seeing in dimensions in ways that other people can't. But we had to go through a pattern interrupt, a renaming, and a new dialogue with the parts of himself that he felt shamed by, blamed by, guilty about. And that was really important. I wanted to share that moment when we shift from not feeling good enough to shifting our self-talk. And now, what a magnificent opportunity. We all can do this in our own way, shift the most negative to something that's empowering, nurturing.